For acrylic painting, you guys are gonna need a paint palette that has a lid, and this is what we're gonna be keeping our acrylic paint in. You're gonna be using a plate just for mixing. So I'm gonna write on here with a Sharpie. For mixing. Pretend like that was a Sharpie. Obviously, you're gonna need a water, you're gonna need a paintbrush, and I would also recommend a paper towel because you don't wanna add water into your paint. So every time I wash it, I'm gonna wipe it on the paper towel. All right, so the paint that you guys have in your set, you have a light red. It's called a Scarlet. So just get maybe a dime's amount of each color. This does not want to close. There it goes. Try to keep your paints closed. And I'm going to separate my primary colors. Put the white in the middle. And then each of these colors also has a darker or a lighter version. So the blue that you have is this phthalo blue, and this is the dark blue. So in the painting cabinet, I also have a lighter blue called a cobalt. So next to the dark phthalo blue, you're also going to put some cobalt. Maybe get this down first. I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but one is dark and one is light. The yellow that comes with our paint set is this lemon yellow, or this really bright yellow. So we want kind of more of a natural yellow. So I have one that's called a cadmium. And put that right next to your yellow. And then the red that comes with our painting set is a bright red. So we want a dark red. And this dark red is called alizarin crimson. That's going to be our dark red. Okay, so you should have 2 values of each color. So what we're gonna do, I tried to write it all out for you guys. This top ring around the color wheel is where we're going to be shading our colors with complementary colors. In the center ring, let me try to zoom in. Center ring is where you're just gonna be doing just the plain color. So we can start with that. So if I look at red, and if I look at the center ring here, I'm going to be doing the scarlet here and the alizarin there. So the scarlet is that bright red. So you just pick up some acrylic and you just fill it in. Easy peasy. So if you want, well, let's go around and do the whole center ring. Now for the alizarin, I want to get some of that darker red. So when I wash my brush, kind of have to tap it along the bottom of the container to really get that paint out. Wipe the edge, and then for my paper towel, I'm going to wipe this on my apron, but I don't want to put water into the paint. You want acrylic to be really nice and thick. That's what makes it opaque and not transparent, like watercolor. Okay, so here's my alizarin. Now, the more I layer that alizarin, the darker it's going to become. But since that's just one layer, it's a little still transparent. Okay, so my next primary color is the phthalo blue. That's my dark blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. Clean your brush by tapping the bottom of the container. And then wipe it on your paper towel or your apron. Get that phthalo blue on your brush. We're still on the center ring.
They're taking the survey because I don't need anything.
Okay, I just cleaned my brush after doing the phthalo, and my alizarin crimson is dry. So I can go back in and now layer a second coat so you can see how dark this red is. Okay, keep going, do my cobalt. Okay, so you guys understand, you're gonna do the same thing here for the yellow. Put the lemon and then put the cadmium. What I'm gonna work on now is work on mixing the alizarin crimson in with this phthalo, right? So here's where you're gonna have your purple. But it's gonna be a really, really dark purple because we're using the dark red and we're using the dark blue. So you can mix in here, but you might start to run out of room. So the purpose of your plate is for mixing, okay? So you can take some alizarin crimson, put it on your plate, take some phthalo blue, put it on your plate, mix them together. Now, this is gonna dry when we put it in our bin. If we have it in here with the lid on it, it's gonna stay wet. So I don't want you pouring paint and putting it on the plate, please. So I'm trying to get somewhat of a purple color, but that blue, that phthalo blue is really overpowering. Okay, so I had to add more alizarin crimson. All right, so now that's the secondary color, right? The purple. In between the alizarin crimson and the purple is gonna be my tertiary color of red violet. And then in between the violet and the blue is gonna be my blue violet. So I'm gonna take the purple that I have, get more alizarin crimson, slowly get some of that purple into that alizarin crimson. And that's my red violet. Should be a good in between these two colors. Now, if you're starting to see the bristles a lot in your paint, that means you don't have enough paint on your brush. So you gotta load up with more. Okay, try to make that thick and solid or opaque. All right, now I'm gonna make my blue violet. So I want a little bit more of that phthalo blue. I think I just lost all my red. Oh, that looks pretty good. Again, if you can see your brush strokes, that means you do not have enough paint. That's actually called dry brush. That's a technique, but you might not want to be doing that here. Okay, kind of all looks black in the video. All right, so now I'm gonna work on going this way. So I'm gonna do my lemon and then my cadmium first, and then I'm gonna work on blending these two together. Okay, what we're gonna do in this outer ring is we're gonna shade that color now with the complementary color. So the last color that I made is this red-orange. So the complementary color to red-orange is right across the color wheel. So it's this blue-green, right? Unfortunately, my blue-green is dry. So my red, I'm gonna make sure I have enough of this red orange, make some more. Get some of that cadmium yellow, mix it into your scarlet. Okay, that looks like a good red orange. You want it to be kind of thick so it doesn't dry. I'm trying to wipe this off my brush. All right, now I'm gonna clean this, and I'm gonna make a blue-green. Wipe your brush on your apron. Okay, so to make my blue-green, I used cobalt and lemon. So I'm gonna get some of that lemon yellow, put it on there. But it's more on the blue side. So now I'm gonna get some blue, mix it in. Okay, and that right now looks like that green color. So that's telling me I need more of that cobalt blue. Trying to match that color. So when you spin your brush around, I'm trying to press some of the paint out of the bristles. Okay, that looks more on the blue side now. So now I want to mix some of my blue in with my red orange. But the blue is going to overpower that red orange. It should make some sort of a neutral brown color. So when I spin my brush, it's because I'm trying to get, again, paint out of my bristles. That's a nice brown. Okay, so that is the complementary colors mixed together. So I can add that above this red orange. And I can add the same color above my blue-green. But if I want to make it more blue-green, let's try this. Let's make it more blue-green. Put that up here. Ooh. It's like a nice forest green color. Then let's do the same. Let's give that one a minute to dry. I'm going to paint over that, make it more red-orange. Because they shouldn't be the same color. So I'm just going to take the paint that's on my brush. There we go. I want more of a red orangish color, and I'm going to paint that right on top. Might need to give it time to dry. So it's more of a reddish brown. Okay, now I'm going to continue doing this all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and show you though, since I have these colors made up, what you're going to do in the center. So I'm going to clean my brush, wipe it on a towel. So I've got some of that blue-green that's still wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some white from my paint palette, mix it into a little bit of this blue-green, and this is your tint. So tint just means you're getting lighter. And this is supposed to be, you know, a piece of the pie. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Clean my brush. I've got a little bit of that red orange. I'm gonna pick up some white. Get that tinted color. Okay, so I'm gonna keep working on this till it's done. So when you are done, to clean up, you wanna make sure that you put your lid onto your color palette, because this will stay wet for the next class. Whatever's on your plate, however, since it's so thin and there's no cover, this is gonna dry, and we can just use this again. We just put paint right on top. Your brush, we are going to, okay, so you're gonna clean your brush at the sink where the water's running, kind of dab it on the bottom. Then you're going to paint the soap, right, because you wanna get paint in the actual bristles. And then you can dab this again along the bottom where the water is running. And when you do this, the water should run clear through the bristles. And you want to make sure all the paint is out from this top part here, because it will dry like plastic and will destroy the brush.